Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be dating when you have kids. Well, if you're a single parent and you've got small children, if you're like most parents who is probably going on a lot of different dates, or I should say if you've been watching my stuff for a while, you're going on a lot of different dates, and the subject probably comes up of at what point should you introduce your kids to someone you're dating. Now, when I was one of the girls I wrote about in my book, she had a small daughter when I first met her. At the time, she was about, I think she was in kindergarten. She just finished kindergarten and was about to start first grade the following year. And I remember we were talking. Obviously, she was very open about talking about her daughter, and I did meet her briefly when I first started dating her, and just kind of like said hello when I went over to her grandparents' house to pick her up. And because she had left her daughter there with her parents when we went out on our date. So I got to meet her parents, and I met her little girl, and which, you couldn't help but fall in love with her because she was just a little angel. And so I remember a lot of, over the time that they were dating, at least those first few months we were dating, because if you read my book, it was kind of like back and forth with her. Sometimes I went from just being a friend to I was a little bit more than a friend, and then she put me back in friendship zone. I'd say, no, I'm not interested in that, and I'd walk away. And then she'd always come back and obviously get me back. And so I remember her saying that I don't want a lot of guys coming into and out of her life. Obviously, you have a small child, and for a mother, she's like, hey, Mom, who are all these guys that you keep going out with? And it's like every time it's always somebody different. Or just as soon as I get used to one guy who I really liked and thought he was cool, then you're dating somebody else. And so the question comes up is, when is it appropriate? And in my opinion, and because I've dated quite a few women that have had children over the years from other relationships, and if you're going to date, you're going to do online dating, more than likely you're going to come across a woman who also has kids from another relationship. And so, the question is like, at what point do you introduce them to your kids? And so, to me, what I found the best thing is that you want to wait until the relationship's established, until you're at the point where, ideally it's really when you're boyfriend-girlfriend is when you should. I would think right around that time it's starting to happen. Like, say you're dating a gal and you've got, you're a guy and you got a couple of little kids. Like, because I actually got an email here from a guy who's got a daughter from a previous relationship. And some of the women get irritated with him when he doesn't introduce his daughter to them. And he's just like one of my other girlfriends I wrote about in my book was like, she's like, I don't want just random dudes coming into and out of her life all the time. Or the same guy coming in and out of her life, which kind of happened, when she and I were dating, for obvious reasons, because the child becomes attached. And so it's at some point the introduction has to be there. But if you're just kind of casually dating someone and you're just you're sleeping with them, but you're not exclusive with them yet, and there's no talk of that, you're just hanging out and having a good time, leave it casual. And if you're a guy watching this, then you know that as far as a relationship goes, or marriage, or when it's time to become exclusive and all those things, as a man, those are not important subjects to you. Why? Because it's the woman's department. Because if you're doing everything right, she's going to be chasing and pursuing you more and more as her interest level goes up. And as her romantic interest level goes up and she starts to fall in love with you, she's going to want to spend more and more time with you to the point where you're living under the same roof. And so if you're just casually dating someone, then I wouldn't, obviously you can talk about your kids, show them pictures, but I wouldn't introduce them at all to your children until you know that there's a really good chance, and you're not going to know this until several weeks or a couple of months, of actually dating the same person and going on and several dates, maybe about a dozen dates or so, whether or not this is somebody that you actually want to get exclusive with. Now, a lot of guys that are just finding out about my work are, their criteria for an exclusive relationship is, oh, she's really pretty. Now, that's terrible, especially if you got kids. The right way, the pragmatic and the objective way to approach it is, after they've proven to themselves over time that they're going to treat you the way you want to be treated, then you can maybe, plan it, especially if she starts bringing up becoming exclusive or dating, unless it's a couple of months in or at least a month or so and you've been on at least half a dozen dates or so, and you want to introduce your daughter or your son or your little kids to this, or your children to this person that you're dating, then you can have her come over, have a dinner or whatever, or take her to dinner and, just a quick dinner or whatever, and introduce and just watch how she interacts with your child. But in the beginning, I wouldn't bring them anywhere near your kids because, like I said, they're on probation just like you're on probation with them. And, involving your child is a big deal because you want to make sure you're involving them with somebody only that has the potential to be in their life on a longer basis and not somebody you're just hanging out and hooking up with and they want to hang out with your kids just because they love kids. So, and it's like they got to earn it. So he says, I always enjoy reading your relationship column. I always reread your book too. Very good. I have an 8-year-old daughter of which she lives with me about 50% of the time. She's my inspiration and the center of my life. Lately I've been dating, and it's often challenging when I start to like someone. They turn me off by suggesting to buy a book on parenting, or they often buy one because they feel they don't understand why I don't share my parenting lifestyle. I do share our day and talk about her, but I'm not in a position to introduce every woman in my life to my daughter. This might sound one way, but they have to earn it. That's the exact right mindset to have, dude. There's tons of women out there, and I generally don't want a needy woman. This is my challenge. I try and keep the relationship at the start between us so that I get to learn more about her. I don't involve my daughter until I feel the woman can contribute to that part of the relationship, and very often they get frustrated about why I don't spend enough time with them. As a result, I end it because I'm not ready to try and convince her over and over when my daughter doesn't need 1,000 women flying through the door. Now here's the deal. This is your daughter. She has no connection to any of these women that you're dating. And so until you're ready to introduce them, it's off limits. And just say, I really like you and I enjoy you, but this is just the way that myself and my daughter's mother have agreed that we want to raise our child together. And, until we're at the point, or say unless we're at the point where we're exclusive and it's a really serious relationship, and I'm convinced that you're going to be around for a long time, that we're going to be together for a long time, I'm not going to, you may meet her briefly, but we're not going to do a lot together, and we're not going to interact together a lot until, I see that it's the appropriate time. And I'm just, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to compromise on those principles. I'm very flattered that you want to meet my daughter and you want to hang out with her and you want to spend time with her. But it's way too new in the beginning. And so, I would appreciate it if, you just be patient with me and respect my beliefs and my daughter's mother's beliefs of how we want to raise our daughter, and respect that. And women that have a good attitude and are flexible and who want to win you, they'll be cool with that. Now, other women that want to try to force you or be a pain in the ass about it, maybe they're needy or they take that as rejection that you don't want, because some women will take it that way. They'll take it as you don't want to introduce them to daughter because you don't really like them that much. It's just, if they're not patient and they're not willing to go the distance, it's just, hey, all you have to do is say to them and say this. Say, this is just how I'm going to raise my children. And it's like, if you don't like that or you have a problem with that, then you're free. They'll understand if you don't want to date or you want to date somebody else. It's totally cool with it. You do the takeaway on them. That's the best way to handle it. And if she's willing to go along with your terms, because this is your daughter, it ain't fucking her daughter. It's really none of her goddamn business. Because she hasn't earned it yet. She's not your daughter's mother, and you're not going to introduce her and have her start mothering and mentoring your daughter only to dump her a few weeks later when she does something that pisses you off because you'd only been on 3 or 4 dates with her. Don't compromise your principles. It's just, this is what you want. This is what you and your daughter's mother has agreed upon as far as raising your child. It's not open for negotiation or discussion here. And you're not going to be a dick about it. You're just going to say this, these are my principles, and I want a woman who understands that and says, you know what, that's a really good idea. And it's like, as much as I'd love to meet your daughter, I don't want to meet her unless I know that because I don't want to form a bond and become attached to your daughter, and then we end up stop seeing each other, and then I've got to go through the heartbreak of not being able to have that relationship. And the same thing with your daughter. That's a smart way to do it. An adult who has kids of their own, or who has friends that have kids, they would understand it. And if the woman doesn't understand it, just say, hey, give me a call if you change your mind. Because at the end of the day, this is your child, and you get to determine who's in her life and who's not. And don't compromise on it. If you're not ready or you don't feel comfortable, tough shit. Sorry. Sorry if that hurts, hurts her feelings or whatever, but it is what it is. So if you find this message of value, you can show your appreciation by going down to the Wibbia toolbar, which is at the bottom of your screen if you're watching this video on my website, and click the PayPal donate button. And donate any amount that you feel is equal to the value of the information in this video. At the very least, please share this page with all of your friends and family by clicking any one of the social network sharing buttons, which are also located on the Wibbia toolbar at the bottom of your screen. And if you have a topic or a question that you want to ask me, you can click the Contact Me tab on the left-hand side of your screen and send me 3 or 4 paragraphs detailing your situation max. Because I get a lot of email from the internet, and I also get a lot of email from my paying phone coaching customers, and I always got to focus on my paying customers' emails first. But be patient, and I will get back to you. And if you want to talk to me right away to help you with a situation or a challenge that you're having, you can book a paid phone coaching session with me personally by clicking the Products tab at the top of your screen and just follow the instructions. And I will talk to you soon.